All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostle elders, a great millstone who rule well. And salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word in love, truth, sincerity, and humility. Once again, it's the brother Shati from the Chicago camp coming back to you with what I hope is another quick and edifying sit down. And as you can see, it's going down everywhere. Okay? You got protests and uprisings in New York. You got protests and uprisings here in Chicago, Dallas, Mexico, Missouri, Pennsylvania, Washington D.C. Okay, it's going down everywhere in the United States. Okay, and this is not going to go away. Okay, all of these things are just merely the beginnings of what will soon be the apex of what we call Jacob's trouble. Actually, you know what? Let me get that. Jeremiah 30:7. And it says, "For alas, that day is great. It is unlike any other." Jeremiah 30:7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Right? Because what's going on in the world right now is affecting everybody. There is no person of any type of nation or occupational status, money status. It doesn't matter. It truly does not matter. Young, old, middle aged, male, female, transformer, don't matter. All right, what's going on in the world, in the United States, is affecting everyone. Everybody is feeling the tension. Everybody is on edge. Everybody is tired. Everybody is now they're uncomfortable. Okay, because when men get settled on their lees, as the scripture said, they get very comfortable. But see, these elites have now made it to where people are uncomfortable. All right? They're uncomfortable because they're unsure if they'll have a job. They're uncomfortable because they're not sure if prices will continue to go up. They're uncomfortable because they may not have a home. They're uncomfortable because they might not get married. They're uncomfortable because they may not have health insurance. They're uncomfortable in every aspect of society that man is involved in, that they use to help themselves or prosper in life. Everyone is uncomfortable. And because of that, you have uprisings and protests, and so much so to the point where you have the police and the National Guard. I mean, shit's going down everywhere. Okay, and that's why we're going to get Second Ezra 15 and 14, where it says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein." It says, "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another." And don't we have that? We have division on every side. We have one aspect and element of people fighting against another. Okay? So called black versus white, rich versus poor, legal, non legal, Republican, Democrat, MAGA, super far left liberal, male, female, husband, white, male, you got it all going down at one time. Pro small hatter, anti small hatter, it's going down. All right, and people are taking to the streets and voicing their complaints. Some genuine, of course, we know some agent provocateurs, but nonetheless, folks are taking to the street. Okay, and it says, "And one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands." And you already got the military and these ICE agents out there, armed to the teeth, ready to bust caps in people, trying to so-called quell civil unrest. It says, for there shall be sedition among men as a violent uprising. In many of these places, you've had violent uprising. Reporters are getting shot. They have no skin in the game whatsoever. All right, they're just there to report the news and the events as they unfold in real time, and reporters are getting shot. All right, you got police cars set on fire. You got police officers getting beat up. It says, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. How poetic, because today was no king's day. All right, these folks are taken to the street. They don't care about the president. They don't care about the vice president. They don't care about senators, governors, statesmen, aldermen. They don't care. Folks are uncomfortable and they're tired. They're tired of being pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, and now they've been pushed so far to the corner where there's nowhere else to be pushed, and now they're like, we're gonna push back. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, right? Because you have to remember what's going to come out of all these riots and protests is martial law. I believe there's one city that has some form of, well, they got a curfew. I won't say it's like full martial law, but it's a curfew. I can't remember where city it was off the top of my head, but they actually have a curfew in place. It says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and there's no nation in the world more prideful than America. And this is why the Lord is bringing such anguish and distress upon the people, especially the children of Israel, with the ICE agents, okay? These tyrannical laws that are taking place, that are snatching them away from their families, having them lose their jobs. Okay, the Lord's really putting a foot in Jake's ass right now. But as I mentioned earlier, all nations are feeling the pain right now because this is a prideful country. And we all know what the scripture says about pride. Pride come before destruction. All right? Pride is hateful before God and man, and by both does one commit iniquity. And this is why this place is getting the type of judgment that the Lord has put upon them, because they have committed iniquity. They have sinned against the Most High, and the Lord is disapproving of this behavior, and he's sending correction through ICE, through these draconian measures that are meant to further oppress the people and incite organic riots, because we all know the Soros gang is in on this. All right? Paying folks on Craigslist to be agent provocateurs, to stir shit up more. But eventually this orchestrated and planned chaos is going to turn into unorganized chaos. It says the houses shall be destroyed and men shall be afraid. Okay, this is a time, as we read in Jeremiah 30:7, it's a time like never before. You have protests going on nationwide. Nationwide. Okay? I say this as a man, but nothing is going to go back to the way it was since these ICE agents came in. Nothing is going back to normal. All these things are going to increase in their intensity and severity. Basically, until the coming of the Lord. All right, we are officially in Jacob's trouble. We are now living in 2nd Ezra 15 and 16. It is on. All right, brothers and sisters. Stay circumspect, stay prayed up. You know, uh, we almost out of here. So that's all I wanted to say on this. Hope you all were edified. Till the next time, we're gonna say shalom.